What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond. I'm back with my own review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Y'all, the second part really wasn't nothing. They dragged out Marlo's pretty party line, and it's just like the way it is, Marlo. You are a walking contradiction. Your life story is extremely sad, and you want us to feel sorry for you, but your actions doesn't match. It doesn't match, okay? Because this season you talked about how Candy's pussy miles couldn't keep her a man and that she dates below her tax bracket. You call me a whore. So I don't understand where you want us to feel sorry for you if you call us out of our names. Don't make sense. And Saya wanted to come in and say, well, listen, I'm trying to even out the conversation because Marla's been a great friend to me. Not to say you guys don't have a reason to be upset because you do, because she did say wrong things about you, but she hasn't done that to me. Sonya, shut up. You haven't met the real Marlo yet. Just wait. Just wait, okay? Like Sonya, stop trying to kiss up. You kissing up and it's not working. Please stop. And Drew said the same thing. I want to like you, Marlo. I do. But the consistency is what I need from you. So then, talking about the break-in, how she heard noises. Her nephews were calling her, screaming. She said, don't come in here. And then she said some curse words that terrified them to run away. And then we get to Kenya's Twitter that she said it was fake, but glad everybody was okay. So what did you mean? Well, we all have a group chat about how to keep each other safe when we're filming because Candy had a scare, Drew had a scare, and now Marlo had a scare. I want us all to come together and keep us informed of what we can do to be safe, right, without a concern. When it comes down to her withholding information, I was with Kenya when she first posted that. I was like, you know what? She ain't wrong. She ain't lying. Marlo is the type to use this as a pity party, was use this as a way to prevent her from getting called out from all of the outlandish shit she said. So we're going to have to be careful of our words, be careful of expressing how she made us feel because she went through something tragic. And it's like, no, it doesn't absolve her from still treating people like shit because she went through a near-death experience or her home being robbed. Terrible, sad, glad nobody was hurt, but I'm not going to forget what you said about me. So I was with Kenya for that. Um, her reasoning for kicking the boys out, she was worried about how it was going to make her look. Like she did not want to tap into how her mother would be if she would have disciplined the boys, meaning whoop them. And she talked about how she was this fabulous auntie who gave them everything, wanted to be fun, spoil them. But Andy was like, that don't work. You can't spoil all the time. You have to show discipline. You have to show restraint. You have to tell them right from wrong. You're going to have to put your foot down. But she just held her hands up and say, I just wanted a break. I was going to have a panic attack if they didn't get out. And maybe my words to kick him out was a little bit too much. It wasn't just the words, Marlo. You acted on kicking them out. And no other way you can slice it is going to make everybody else feel like you were deserving of kicking them out because you weren't. So this whole reset, girl, miss me. You did not need a 30-day break from your nephews. A weekend, fine. A spa day, fine. But 30 days, miss me. Don't like it. It don't make sense because, again, your whole story, your whole life, you've been kicked out of homes that you thought was your home. So how is it that you get the opportunity to give your nephews a home that you never had, and you decided to snatch it away from them when they got comfortable? Make that make sense. You ended up becoming the people that kicked you out. So it doesn't land. I can't give you sympathy if you treating the boys the same way you got treated. That was the whole purpose, though, so it don't make sense. Let's, like Candy said, you're giving them the best schools, the best clothes, you're taking places. So it doesn't make sense that when they feel comfortable, they feel like they're at home, you kick them out. Another excuse. How, when you are signing up to be a foster parent, you take classes on how to deal with certain children. She didn't learn. She didn't take classes. I'm like, girl, miss me and fuck you. There's no rule book. There's no manual of becoming a parent. And becoming a foster parent, please. There might be some things you can learn, some, you know, rules, some notes to take on who will become a foster parent. But come on, Marla, you want to use the fact that you didn't take the class? You didn't even do the same thing to your own sister. When your sister was having trouble living with your mom, you took her in. But when it got too hard for you, you kicked her out. And you decided to place all of that on your grown sister with 4 children under the same age with in a 2-bedroom apartment. So you can miss me if you did not know what to do. You knew what to do. You wanted to let go of the responsibility onto somebody else because you couldn't do it. Just keep it a buck, Marlo. You couldn't do it because you didn't want to do it. And you didn't like how it made you look. Wanting a break. Bullshit. I'm done. Then it comes down to, you know what? There's something else that they did not do. They did not check Marlo about why did she turn her nose up when Candy was about to give her her old clothes. And they weren't even old. They were brand new clothes that she never wore, because we get to how she treats her girls around Christmas time, prom time. She gives them the world, this and that, the third. And I'm like, wait a minute. We're not talking about how Marlo completely was stupid to turn down Candy's hand-me-downs. We gonna overlook that? Okay. And when it comes down to Crystal, haven't heard from her. Andy gave Marlo a lot of grace, and I didn't like it. And when it came down to thinking that her story moved the other people, Kenya asked for a tissue. Andy said, "Are you moved?" "No, my nose is cold. Thank you." And of course, she was hurt that Kenya did not give her what she wanted, which was acceptance, feeling like she could fit in. She said no. She's always been dismissive of me, and I don't know why. I've always liked her, and this is my life. But Kenya was like, this is damage control. You can miss me. And just basically how, her and Kenya have the same story. Hurt people hurt people. You know what? You're right. Kenya has said some outlandish things, but the one thing we have noticed is that Kenya knows where it comes from, and she's working on it. You have never worked on your demeanor. You have never not used your past as a weapon to hurt other people. Kenya has opened about her past and has grown from it. So then we move on to who was the shady queen and how flashbacks of who was shady. There's receipts. Drew really did not know what gaslighting meant, which irritated me. And the story, how they played the movie of how Brown gaslit her and how Marla will always go below the belt and that she will never do this, she will never do that, but she ended up bringing up Kenya's mother, Kenya's daughter, Kenya's husband, Kenya this, Kenya that. I'm like, Marla, you need to stop lying. They have you on tape. Like, I don't understand why you don't think that they will catch you. Moving on. Then her edges are fine. These are real edges, not some lace front. Marlo is using Kenya more edge control. She wants to know, I stand by your work, I'm support. Kenya was like, good, you need it. Did Ralph play football? No, he did not. Next question. Then Sheree, are you tired of the whole spring, September, summer line that they keep dragging you? No. No, you were tired of it, hence why you had to bring us with She by Sheree, which is a mess. Nobody's paying for these overpriced clothes. That is produced by Shein and Amazon Prime. Like, you can miss me. Like, girl, please. Listen, even Candy has released worldwide t-shirts, and Drew also released she invited me and uninvited me t-shirts. How is it that Drew and Candy can put out merch faster than you, Sheree? Help me understand. And they have probably the exact same connections as you do, but they're able to put out merch just like that. And you have a hard time. Make that make sense for me. But you can lie and now admit that you did use partners or collaborators or facturers. You did use Shein facturers. You could miss me. Then Kenya, she was the moment. Yes, she was. And how they love drunk Kenya, and then they glossed over her calling Ross aggressive. I don't think that Sonya wanted to go down that road, and I don't think Kenya wanted to defend herself anymore. But majority of this season, we did see good energy from Kenya. She was coming off from a high of the competition. And then she brought up her grandmother. You know, her grandma would take them to a community center to dance class because they couldn't afford real lessons. And her grandmother would come to her recital. So when she did get on the show, she felt like she was dancing for her grandma because she passed when she was able to see her dance. And it was a very nice moment. I loved how her and Candy were holding hands, and it teared me. I was like, oh, Kenya. Loved it, right? And everybody saw a different light in Ken this season. And it was definitely a sign for Drew and Ken to start over because Drew didn't see that the first time. And I loved Kenya this season. I absolutely did. Kenya was calling out the bullshit. She was funny. She was in the moment, was the moment, loved it all. And her divorce, stand still, okay? Don't know what else Mark wants. She has custody. She's not giving him percentage of her house. What does he want other than to make her life miserable? She's ready to be done with him. And she's dating, having fun being single. Excuse me. Sonya now understood how it was rude of her to keep on telling Kenya that Jamaica was a couples trip because the first time, I don't know why she took this seriously, but the first time that Kenya didn't bring a plus one was the New York trip. But Candy told her she could bring a plus one. She just wanted to make it an issue. So she did not want the same misunderstanding. So she wanted to tell her, you can bring a friend. But the way that she did it was to let Kenya know that she had to bring somebody special. She had to bring a man. While telling Sheree and Marlo that you could bring a girlfriend, a best friend, a buddy, anybody, right? So she now get it. I'm glad you get it because it didn't make any sense. And it was just miscommunication. Then, of course, do you regret hanging up on her? I do not. I do not. The last time I hung up with somebody was my grandmother. She politely got off the phone, came over and beat my ass. But I don't regret her hanging up a phone on Sonya either. Sonya got on my nerves with that. So you deserve to get your hanged up on. You deserve that. Then it was the whole why did Sheree and Kenya get mad over not being able to go to iFit if you guys had a boat planned? So Sheree wasn't going to go. Point blank, period. She was not about to go. She needs to just keep it a buck and just admit that. But Kenya wanted to go because the first time that she was there, she did not show up on time for Sonya when she was 2 hours late. So she did not want the second event to give that same narrative. So I wanted to show her that I wanted to support her and I wanted to be there for her. Sonya never felt that and sensed the energy that she didn't get from Kenya, that she wanted to be there. That's what she fed off. And she thought that they arrived on the bus on time because Marlo did. Marlo was not about to tell Kenya that the bus is here, come on over. She wasn't about to do it. She wanted Kenya to lose it. And then, she tells him that she lost her phone. She was working all day. So she didn't receive that, But at the same time, I also want Sonya to... Why didn't we get to why Sonya called out Kenya that last night at dinner and couldn't explain what the issue was? We didn't get to that part. We didn't talk about that. How Sonya definitely partaked in having little moments with Kenya when she wanted to have a moment that wasn't necessary. Then, getting tips from Sheree how to handle Kenya. It's like, oh wow, Sheree, you want to give tips to somebody who, why am I blanking on the statement? Sure, Kenya is your friend. I don't know why Kenya is your friend, but you want to give somebody else who's trying to be your friend, give you tips about how to handle your friend. Nice. Then Martell called. So staged, so fake. I'm not here for it. They having sex, don't care. Then why did Sonya felt like every time she called out Kenya, Kenya had a pattern of talking about her hurt and pain? Okay, listen. While Kenya definitely was going through a lot with Mark this season, when she called you out for the phone conversation, she had a reason to. She had a reason to. Okay, now the conversation about Brooklyn, that could have been a stretch. That could have been her wanting to, not get called out for being late. I can get that part. But look at your friend Marlo, who you're kissing up. She uses every opportunity to deflect from getting called out, any form of accountability. and uses her sob story. So while you're trying to call out how Kenya has a pattern of using her sob story to get out of being called out, look at your friend Marlo as well. This girl is the queen of not taking accountability. So then Ross's behavior, they glossed over that. I don't think Kenya wanted to talk about it anymore. So she said he was a nice man. He was small, not small. He was soft spoken. He didn't say nothing wrong. I'm gonna move on from that. And like Sonya said, he was defending his wife. We can't get mad about that. Then the birthday party, Brooklyn's birthday party. Why did you play a shady game of who's the most shades at a birthday party? She thought it was funny. It wasn't funny. And Sheree, I'm gonna need for you to keep it a buck and admit that you did right. Did Candy ever suck dick in the locker room? And then how, I mean, she likes to talk about sex. She's a freak, everybody. We all know that. And I wouldn't be surprised if you did suck dick. I'm just saying. Candy said, I wouldn't be surprised if you did as well. She said, I did, even in the locker room. Okay, well, make it okay for you to say it then. Why are you trying to go through what I did? Like, and again, glossing over Sheree's shade. We have glossed over Sheree's shade, Marlo's shade, Sonya's shade. We have glossed over so many shade that should have been talked about. And I didn't like it. Then how Sonya is an Olympic track medalist and her whole family and all this and that. And how wanting to have another baby but don't want to strain her marriage. So going through a lot, what is the hardest? Being an Olympic track star or a housewife? A housewife. I'm in a whole different field. I'm in a whole different element, okay? Even though she did come from a reality show with her family, this is a whole different scenario. Then how the baby talk coming in and how right now they're trying, and if she's not pregnant by the end of the year, the IUD is getting back in. It's now about to be October. You got about 2 more months. So no baby, basically. But she's not giving him a timeline. Just waiting until it happens. So basically, it's just kind of like, how Sonya went back and forth of wanting to have a baby, but don't want to have a baby by herself. Even though she's in a house full of people, she still doesn't have the help. And Ross is not making any changes of being more of a helping hand with her. So with all that being said, with her not wanting to have kids, but then hearing from Ross that they have understanding, now she wants to have more children. Drew was going back and forth, was like, okay, sure, you want to, okay, the dream, okay, fine, okay. So basically, Drew's comment that it was her duty to please her husband to have more children, and she doubles down on it. And the scene on Watch What Happens Live, that is a conversation that you guys need to have. Two people need to be on the same page when it comes to having children. And also, I do believe that it's a woman's duty to please her husband and have children. A lot of women think like Drew. We can't say she is wrong. We can't say she's backwards when almost the population of women do think that pleasing a man is also giving him what he wants, which is children. But Drew said there was more to that conversation. It wasn't just don't give your give your husband a child. It was, is it a medical reason? Why is it a reason you don't want to have children? So I feel like that's where the issue lies with Sonya, that she did not get the answer she was looking for from Drew. Drew gave her opinion on what you should do. You didn't like it. You got mad. And you wanted her to tell you that, girl, doesn't matter. If you don't want a baby, your husband needs to be understanding of that. That's what you wanted to hear. Well, Drew is not thinking like that. She's thinking to please her husband. That's what she's thinking of. But you do not want to have another baby, but you end up doing the exact same thing that she said, pleasing your husband. Your husband tells you he understands how hard it can be for you to have children, and we don't have to have children if you're not ready. But then you are getting your IUD taken out to have children. There's no timeline. So after all of that, it was a misunderstanding. You wanted understanding from her. You didn't get it. And I'm just kind of like, Sonya, whatever. I'm not doing this. Then Marlo and Kenya, they always go back and forth. Hit below the bell, blah, blah, blah. Marlo thinks that Kenya dismisses her. She always uses her when she wants to, then discards her. Even how it was with Portia. Kenya said, girl, do not start with that. You did not want to be friends with Portia anyway and got mad when somebody was friends with her. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. And Drew had to co-sign and say, you got mad at me because I was talking to Portia. No, I wasn't. I was mad because you was talking about I didn't like. Tomato, tomato. You did not like that I was hanging around with somebody you didn't like. And Marlon, you wasn't about to be with anybody's friend if it wasn't with Nene. Miss me. And will they be friends again? No, they will not. Marlo, I'll be stressed. It's over. It really is, but I'll miss her. I really will. Ken said that's a sociopath in her. She thinks it's funny. She thinks it's cute that she can be one way and then turn around and be another way. I'm not falling for that. Everything about her is fake. Even your name is fake. Latoya Hutchison. I'm like, Latoya Hutchison? Who's that? You. That is not my name. And then I did not connect to anything Marlo said after that. How her best friend was Latoya's name. Her arrest record was 20 years ago. Her birth certificate, that's not a real birth certificate. They go back and forth. Do you pay your taxes? Are you comfortable? You got money? I don't make that much money. Square reader again. I don't. And like, this is why I can't fool with her. She's a vapid, shallow, selfish person. Like, I think nothing of her. I don't care. Again, a lot of back and forth. Like, I've heard her say so much about other people, but she's never talked about her life like this. All the details that Marlo has talked about, like, girl, you went to jail. You slashed a woman's face. I'm like, what? Yes, and I feel like Kenya had a point. Marlo could never be upfront about her past. She gives little things, stories, never giving details, but she'll have everybody else's life story ready to spill, but not hers. And that's not fair. And then how we get to her arrest. Why she went to jail. So I didn't go to jail, went to county jail. Jail is jail. Okay? And then, you are a liar. You are a liar. You're a liar. I'm like, ooh, Marlo, you mad? Like, we talk about her in foster care. We never talk about her life when she was in the streets. We never talk about it. So she said she met somebody that she used to know, had an argument, went to jail for 6 months. She got released, but kept getting parole violations because she kept partying, not not getting caught. Okay. Then giving out bad checks, a bad check to the University of Florida. Then her friend graduated under her name. I don't know what that was. I was confused. Then Drew and Sheree had beef about Anthony, the assistant, who said she don't like to pay. Then she gets caught in a lie that she was never her assistant. But Sheree also made a comment that why is Anthony your assistant if he's never worked for you? She said when it comes down to meeting new people, she always put their names next to a title to remember them. That makes no sense. Then Drew was like, oh, he never told me that. He told me this and this and that. And like, did you pay him? Did you pay him? And when confronted with the rumor, he said he never said it. She said it, this and that. And then they called, no, Drew played a recording of Ralph and Anthony about the rumor. I think he said he never said it or he said it because he was mad about something. Then Sheree decided to call him on FaceTime. And he said, was you my assistant? She said no. And he lied and said he was never her assistant. He might have said that Ralph was gay, don't remember, and that Drew needed a storyline. I was just like, what? So on the recording, you said you never said it. You only said it to make her mad. You telling Sheree you weren't her assistant. She don't owe you nothing. And this was all about a storyline. Please, Anthony, you are doing the same exact thing that you did on Basketball Wives, getting into mess to make yourself known, to make yourself relevant, and you're putting two women involved that don't. Anthony is mess, and Anthony's a liar. I do believe that Anthony told Drew about Sheree don't pay, and I feel like he told Sheree that Ralph was gay. I believe that Anthony told both of them one lie and one truth. The truth is Sheree don't pay. The lie, Ralph is gay. All for him to be on television. You see how dramatic and overly, happy to see Candy. But y'all, that was pretty much it. That was the second part. The next part will be the husbands. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for the next video, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.